didn't speak English. I had a couple of $100, a guitar, a bag of clothes. I'm like, all right, but I'm here. I'm here. And I would sit in that park just dreaming of, what I'm going to do in this country and the things I'm going to do. And I taught myself to speak English by translating a book, Shawshank Redemption. Somebody left it in the room where I was staying. And with a Hungarian English dictionary, I was translating it word by word. No understanding of grammar, so I had to figure that out. Took me a minute. And I would watch, I had a low black and white TV, and it has closed caption, so I can see the words and then hear the pronunciation. So that's kind of, I could understand. And once, it took me a good few months. Once I had a decent understanding and I could read, I would sit in Barnes and Nobles almost every day. I would go, and we couldn't afford books, but they would not kick me out. They would let me come in, and I would just read.
Who's that guy right there? That kid sitting around and reading all the books. They probably all they knew you, right?
Yeah, they just knew, like, oh, he always comes in here, so he's harmless. He just sits here and reads books. Yeah.
That's amazing. Right. And same process, or by then you mastered the English?
No, I mean, it was, by then I could read and understand. Yeah. In fact, for a longest time, if I wanted to make a phone call, I had to make myself notes. And I had to make sure that the conversation stays.
Follow the script.
Because if it derives, I'm not going to understand.
Listen, I heard stories of Korean martial artists that spoke no English, but they have the script of a sales script. They would bring the potential client to the office, and they memorized the script, and they kind of figure out what the interjections or replies would be like.
Right.
And they stuck with the script. By the end of the conversation,
right,
they were able to enroll the guy. Right. They had no idea what you're saying, but they memorized the script in English without speaking English, but just enough. That's interesting. Right. So how did everything unfolded then? Like, I mean, did you start doing solo playing in bars, or how did you guide your musician journey, or what happened first since you came here?
So I started to, as I said, I had to teach myself English. Once I had a pretty good understanding, for a long time, I had to see your body language. For your body language would tell me if you understand what I'm saying. And even to this day, I repeat a lot of things. Like, I have a conversation, or I'm doing podcast interviews. I habitually repeat things and phrase them differently. This is a habit that stayed from that time, that I would tell you something and then I will tell you 2-3 more times with different phrasing, because I want to make sure that
I got it.
Yep. So it's just a habit that kind of stayed with me. An interesting thing came out of it, though. When somebody's talking to me, I'm reading their body language. And if I can tell if they're not telling me the truth, I also can tell if they don't actually understand what they're saying. The body language is different. Like, I can see that.
So I guess in your own research to learn a new language, you started to understand also about body language.
Because I had to.
And you kind of figure out what was the
because
the message between.
Yeah, because when you're talking to somebody, especially in the beginning when I didn't really speak English that well, I would have to feel, especially when you're talking to me, I understand every other word. So I had to kind of figure out what's
you got to fill the gap, whatever you miss. I got you.
So that's kind of like the training wheels, right? Like, the body language was the training wheel that you're telling me a sentence, I understood half of it, but the body language kind of filled up the gaps, right? And the first time when I realized that I accidentally developed a different, you call it talent, is that there was a moment I was watching TV and I couldn't understand a word. I'm like, oh my God, did this just fall out of my head? What happened? And then it happened a couple of times. And I thought that something is wrong. Like, all of a sudden, I don't understand anything. And I realized the only time it would happen if I watched the news. Because those people just read. They don't actually think about what they're saying. And they have no emotions. They just read a script. And I could not understand.
Wow.
So that's when I noticed, like, oh, I'm filling in the gaps by body language.
No wonder mainstream media is a dinosaur these days, right? I mean, they still keep following the formula of repeating out of scripts. It's crazy because you see one network saying the news in a certain way, and all of a sudden all the other ones carry on
They
the
be
same
the same
news
thing,
piece with the same wording.
Right.
It's just every single channel. It's like, what the heck, you know?
Right.
They're just parroting each other.